What is an ecosystem of Zoho? Quickly going to introduce it and then introduce the speakers. You use Zoho products as our customers, right? So it's a set of services, people, and other companies that we work with to improve your experience and to solve your problem better. So one of my colleagues, Purvi, will come up and introduce the partner program and what they can do for you. So in the second part of this session, it's 3 snippets. In the second piece, we're going to have one of our technology partners, Microsoft, come up. So we have a team member from Microsoft Teams who's going to come in and talk about how we work together as 2 different companies to improve the experience for you, the customer. And finally, we'll have a third section introduced by one of my other colleagues, Vidya, who's working on community. That is, building a community of users who work together, engage with each other, and share ideas on how you can use our services better to improve your own business. So with that, I'm going to introduce Purvi. Come on up, Purvi.
Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing? Good. So in today's session, I'm going to talk about a little bit about our partner program, introduce our consulting partners to you, talk to you a little bit more about how can a partner really help you. So who are our consulting partners really? Zoho authorizes selective companies who expertise in Zoho products. They sell, manage, implement, and support your services for you. But before we dive a little bit deeper into the partner program and talk about who really our customers are, I want to talk about the journey of a customer, the steps that you go through as a customer to understand that you really need a new product or a new system in place, to like implementing it and then ongoing support. The first step as a customer is the discovery phase, knowing that you really need a product. There's something that needs to change in your day-to-day operations, in your business processes, so that you can improve your processes, you can get more efficiency in your system. So we were talking about these phases for a customer, right? From the discovery phase, when you really understand that you need a new system in place, you need something better for you so that you can improve your team's efficiency. And then when you evaluate, basically talking about hundreds of providers in the industry who do more or less similar things and provide more or less similar but yet very different solutions, and to understand which one makes the best sense for you in terms of technology, in terms of pricing, and in terms of ease of use for your end user. Implementation alone can be the most complex part of this procedure, just customizing the process or the product to suit your requirement the most. Partners come into the picture at various stages in this entire journey. They can be with you from start to finish, or they can enter in somewhere in the other stages. For example, at the evaluation stage, a partner can work with you to give you a proof of concept. That way, you have a better understanding of how your product will really look like at the end. How is it going to help you, which you can actually use internally to convince your other team members to implement this change. As I said, implementation, the most complex and the most time-consuming part of your project. This is the biggest part where partners can be very, very resourceful for you. Right from doing simple to complex implementations, our partners have a ton of experience just dealing with you in terms of integrations, working with you to get all of your systems together, bringing your data over from other systems is a big part of this process. Even after the implementation, you'll see a lot of phases where you need ongoing help. There are problems, your businesses evolve, you grow, and you have more and more requirements. All of that is easily taken care of with partners. Sometimes, you're dealing with a product, software, a similar one from the one that you've used in the past. That will help you to take on some steps or some actions by yourself. Sometimes you have a sophisticated IT team or a sophisticated business process team that can help you in your day-to-day for all of these processes. Let's talk a little bit about this step. How do you decide if you can do things yourself or you really need a partner to help you? I think the answer for this comes internally. Define your requirements. Know what you are asking for, right from the key drivers of your change. Understand the top 5 reasons why you need to make this change. What are the problems, your strategic problems, as well as day-to-day functional problems that you're aiming to solve when you actually are trying to implement a new system? Your data migration and your integration needs, like we talked about a minute back, are an important part of this discovery process. Know your end user. Who are the people who is getting affected by this change? How is their day-to-day going to get affected? How do you train them, onboard them, so that this change is accepted much better in your organization? Now, it is perfectly okay to not know answers to all of these questions when you're meeting your partners for the first time or when you're scoping out the project. Our partners are also very experienced across different industries and different customer types, so they can discuss their examples and their cases with you so that you can get help in scoping this project out. Based on this scoping, you will get a fair amount of understanding on the kind of expertise you're looking at, kind of partners you're looking at, or the kind of things that you're looking at for yourself internally. When you have these requirements, review partners. Lots of partners, you go through a lot of profiles, learn what their expertise is. Always feel free to ask for case studies and success stories. They'd be more than happy to share examples with you. This will give you a lot more confidence into their practice. It'll be easier for you to understand the way they work and adapt those things in your organization. Try to understand. Do you need a local partner? Do you want someone to come into your office? Sometimes, even if you have local partners, most of the work happens over emails and over phone conversations or even over video meetings. So having remote partners is also completely okay. Make sure you understand that difference. For a remote partner, a lot of times partners end up traveling in the beginning of the project or at the end of the project. Make sure that these kinds of discussions have happened ahead of time so that there's no confusion at the end. Try to request for a proposal. Again, having a detailed discussion about the kind of resources that we are talking about, the scope of work, timeline, pricing, all of these would be included as a part of your proposal. Make sure that you have that so that it's easier for you to understand what kind of a partner you want to work with. You can also use our partner tiers. We work with partners and qualify them under a variety of tiers based on their time they've been with us, the number of products that they cater to, their experience, etc. Let's take a minute on understanding what each of these tiers mean. We have 3 tiers: premium partners, advanced partners, and authorized partners. Premium partners are some of our most experienced partners. They have been with us for a long time, invested a lot with Zoho, and have experience across almost all or major product clouds at Zoho, and have worked with small, medium, as well as large-scale customers. Our advanced partners are strongly invested in and have strong expertise in sales and implementation processes for customers, and they can work at multiple Zoho products at multiple levels. Advanced partners are also some of our very fast-growing partners. Both premium and advanced partners have the capability to support you and to train your team members on an ongoing basis. Our authorized partners are some of our relatively newer partners, yet does not mean inexperienced ones. They have experience across different products. They're adding more and more products to their suites. They're getting trained and getting to a stage where they have a dedicated Zoho practice for themselves. Use this website. Go to zoho.com/partners to look at different partners, filter them by their tiers, by the number of years of experience, products that they're working on. It will give you a lot of ideas. A lot of our partners have also added case studies in here. It will be helpful for you to go through these case studies and see if any of these meet your requirements. Just a last few pointers on how you can maximize your investment when you're working with a partner, just so that you have a very positive relationship with your partner and have a very nice experience dealing with your partner. Define your goals and clearly communicate everything with your partner. Even during the process of implementation, if you face problems, always make sure to communicate those things with your partners so it's easier for you to solve problems as they come instead of waiting till the end. We strongly recommend that you have a formal agreement in place which has a definition of the scope of work, timelines, the resources that are required, the payment plans, etc. Even if your partner is doing end-to-end solutions for you, you will need to provide some resources from your side. For example, data that needs to get migrated, access to those data, access to information that's needed for integration. Make sure that you have someone responsible in your organization to communicate very well with your partner and give them everything that they need on time. And like I said before, plan for training, plan for an onboarding. Change is very hard, but it doesn't have to be. Proper onboarding, proper training can go a very long way in adapting to this new change. That's all from my side today. Hope you had a good session. Thank you so much. I'd like to call Vishruth on the stage from Microsoft to help us with some technological aspects of our Microsoft partnership with Zoho.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Zoho team for having me over here. Many of you might be wondering what's Microsoft doing in a Zoho conference. So, quick introduction, I'll answer that question. And as I go through the PowerPoint, you will understand what's the play between Microsoft and Zoho over here. But quick introduction from my side. So my name is Vishruth. I come all the way from Bangalore, India. Me and my team, we work for Microsoft Teams product engineering group. And as part of the product engineering group, I lead the platform ecosystem vertical, basically working with the developers in customers, enterprises, ISVs, system integrators, partners, to bring in their app experiences onto this amazing platform that we call as Microsoft Teams. In my presentation, I have included a couple of slides on Microsoft Teams itself, in case you are hearing about the product for the first time. Microsoft Teams is basically a 2-year-old product from Microsoft. It's our hub for teamwork in Office 365, which is our cloud offering for Office. In the Microsoft stack, or anybody who's playing like from enterprise to an SMB who's playing in the Microsoft ecosystem, Teams is going to be the one place which will be the collaboration and the communication hub for employees to kind of spend most part of their day chatting, callings, doing meetings, doing file share, doing a lot of collaboration and unified communication on a single platform, right? And today what we are going to talk about as part of my session over the next 15-20 minutes is the play between Zoho apps, the awesome apps that Zoho builds, and Microsoft Teams. So if you happen to be using Microsoft Teams for collaboration and unified communication, how can you actually improve your productivity and be a lot more efficient and productive by using Zoho apps inside Microsoft Teams? So the power of ecosystem is what the talk is all about. Let's get started. So before we actually move into to seeing what Zoho and Microsoft has worked together over the last 1.5 years, a quick rundown on the state of collaboration today, right? There are some amazing and staggering statistics that you can see on these slides. For example, there are 5 generations working in the workforce today. There are 80% of employee time is spent collaborating. We don't work in silos anymore. All of these statistics are to basically underscore the importance of teamwork. We all do not work in a 1:1 fashion today. We work with our team members. We collaborate across borders, both within organizations and outside our organizations. For example, a lot of us work remotely. As the statistics say, 72% workers are working remotely, are expected to be working remotely by 2020. And there's a 2x increase in the digital growth in organizations in the past 5 years. All of it combined points to the fact that going forward, teamwork is going to be super important. Mobile as a device and a form factor is going to be super important. Virtual meetings, collaboration, unified communication, all of this is where the digital age is basically heading to. Quickly moving ahead, introducing Microsoft Teams. So folks who are actually hearing about Teams for the first time, this is basically the hub for, or the universal hub for teamwork. In the Microsoft stack, we have also offered this as a product outside the Microsoft stack in a free offering. It is the product which is built for communication. It is built for collaboration. As you can see, you can do file sharing. You can basically use apps inside Teams, which is where we are going to basically spend most of the time today, talking about Zoho apps built on Teams. So we have an in-product app store where you can use a lot of app integrations, a lot of SaaS-based applications that you are already using today. Now you can use it inside Microsoft Teams itself. So it's not just a product; it's also a platform, right from day one. And it's all built on the goodness and the IT pro policies and compliance that organizations have come to trust over the years with Office 365, and the Microsoft stack, right? So there's a lot of admin capabilities built in. It is the fastest growing business app in Microsoft history. So far, among all the business apps that Microsoft has built in the history, Teams has seen incredible momentum in the last 2 years since its launch. There are 500K plus organizations using Teams today all across the globe. 91% of Fortune 100 companies are using Teams within their organizations. It's a global product. It's supported across 44 languages all around the globe. And there are more than 150 organizations which have 10K plus active users on Teams. There are organizations, for example, Accenture, who run completely on Teams. They have 100,000 plus users using Teams on an active basis, right? So this is a product which multiple people and organizations are running their businesses on. They are literally spending their days, their entire day, their entire productive day spent on this particular product. Now let's come to actually talking about apps in Teams. The idea behind having apps in Teams is to reduce context switching. Today, a lot of us, we collaborate, we do file sharing, we do callings, meetings, and everything on different apps and different platforms. What we have done is we have basically combined all of that inside a single scaffolding. So Teams is the place where you can basically do collaboration, chat, calling, meeting. But why should you use your apps outside the Teams as well? Because today, if you have data, content, you have your intelligence living inside SaaS applications, you still have to basically switch out from your collaboration tool and communication tool, go to a web browser, log in, get data from that app, put it back into your communication and collaboration tool, and this all takes time, right? So in a day, as per statistics, about 40% of employees' productive time gets wasted by just doing context switching. So moving from app A to app B to app C, and then coming back to app A and sharing that information with your colleagues and then taking a decision around it, this actually loses a lot of your productive time. So we have actually built Teams as a platform, and there are 250 plus applications which are integrated in Teams as part of the in-product app store today. Some pretty big names over there. We have a bunch of Zoho apps also integrated, and that's what I'm going to basically go deep dive in. And I'm going to show you literally an experience that the Zoho teams, multiple product teams within Zoho have worked with us in the past 1.5 years, and they've got all of these apps, beautiful apps up on the App Store. If you use one of these apps, you can actually go back and start using that inside Teams today. So you can see Zoho Projects is there. You can see Site 24/7. There is Zoho Sign over here. There's Zoho Desk. Zoho CRM just went live over the weekend. So this is the latest app which has been integrated as part of Microsoft Teams. Cool. So here's the full list. The top half is basically all the apps which are either launched on Microsoft Teams already. For example, CRM, Projects, Desk. We have Sign, and we have Site 24/7. There is Sprints team, Service Desk Plus, and Forms are actively building their integrations with Microsoft Teams. So they are in various phases of either developing, or they are in various stages of getting pre-validated by us to go and get launched on the App Store. Orchestly, just a special mention, this product was announced today morning as part of Vijay's session. We are already working with Orchestly's team. This is the app which is basically not even released. It was just announced today morning to all of you. This is already being integrated with Microsoft Teams as we speak. So that should actually show you the kind of partnership that we have with Zoho, that an app which is in a pre-release state is already building an integration with Microsoft Teams, so that when they launch, they already have their app present on the Teams App Store as well. And we are actively pitching, and we are looking to basically get campaigns, Recruit, and a bunch of other Zoho apps which make sense for our customers who use Teams as well. So that, and in the future, you might see actually some of these other apps also going live on the Teams App Store. Thing to note over here is, Zoho is the largest company, single company, to have these many apps published on the Teams App Store. There's no other partner, and this makes this relationship extremely, extremely special. And I'm super proud of the work that we've done with Zoho in the last 1.5 years. These many number of apps, there's not even a single company which has basically published these many products and these many apps on Microsoft Teams App Store. Zoho is the only one which uniquely positions this company to go and win with their apps on the Teams App Store. So a quick next few slides, you're basically going to see a bunch of different experiences that cut across Zoho apps, and these are real screenshots that I have taken while I was putting together this presentation. So this will also give you a sneak peek into what kind of app experiences can be built on the Teams platform, right? So the first one is the power of conversation. So all of you might be familiar with bots, and bots are the new cool thing. They are basically conversational interfaces to get your work done. And what you see on the screen is basically the Site 24x7 product, which is basically built a bot integration on top of Teams. So this is the Site 24x7 app, has a bot, it has a tab, it has a connector. So all of these various capabilities that they have built on the Teams platform combine into a single app. So when you go to the App Store, you can get the Site 24x7 app. When you install it on Teams, you are basically going to be able to chat with the bot, get notified whenever any of your monitors or your IT services or your servers go down. On the left-hand side, you're able to see that in the Teams web or desktop application. On the right-hand side, the same screen is basically being shown on the mobile app. So again, so for most of the apps, I've tried to basically capture both the desktop or the web or the large screen experience, and as well as the mobile screen experience as well. Again, we come to the power of in-the-moment actions. Bots on Teams are not query-based query-based systems. Bots on Teams are basically action-oriented interfaces that app developers can build, and Zoho has built that as well. So using rich cards, you can basically build action-oriented interfaces, as bots. And the screenshot over here shows the Zoho Projects app. So the Zoho Projects app brings in a lot of power, a lot of conversational capabilities into Teams. You can actually invoke Zoho Projects app or the bot inside Teams, saying, at Zoho Projects, view my tasks. So whichever are your tasks assigned in the Zoho Projects app itself will show up inside Teams as a listing, and I can basically click on any of those tasks, and it gives me a full detailed list of or a view of or rich card of what the task is all about. If you remember, if you actually notice the buttons over there on the screen, those buttons actually let you complete workflows and tasks right from within Teams. That's the power of not having to switch out from Teams as an interface, go to a browser to take actions. The bot and the rich cards enable you to basically take actions in the context of Teams itself. It's basically all server-to-server calls. It's using APIs of Zoho Project itself, and it's allowing you to basically save time and completing your workflows, adding a comment, assigning the task to somebody else. All of these basic common actions can be performed from within Teams itself. The same you can see for the Service Desk Plus app as well. So the Service Desk app's bot allows you to basically take actions like, for example, add notes, as you can see over here. And all of this is basically possible on the mobile client of Microsoft Teams as well. So you build your app once, and you're able to basically use it anywhere where Teams is present, which is desktop, web, Mac, Android, iOS. All of these apps are basically fully functional and present across all those clients. Next, we come to the power of web canvas. A lot of us are used to basically using web canvas and rich UI experiences of Zoho apps on our browsers. There's nothing that prevents you to actually use that same experience within Teams itself. So if you have a Teams client, there's no reason why you can't actually surface beautiful interactive UI like Zoho apps have done. For example, Site 24x7 has actually got beautiful cloud dashboards and like monitoring dashboards into Teams. This is a real screenshot. This is basically a product which is live on the Teams App Store. Your IT teams can monitor your entire networks and the infrastructure's health right inside Teams using these beautiful dashboards. There are a lot more screenshots. For example, Zoho CRM, the latest integration which went live over the weekend, you can actually see CRM dashboards pinned inside Teams channels. So your entire team can now take a look and keep track of how your leads are performing, are you meeting your targets or not, right inside Teams. The Zoho Desk tab also allows you to basically keep track of your support tickets, all the support cases right inside Microsoft Teams. You can collaborate around that data. You don't have to basically go to a browser to see all of this. This is all available inside the Teams interface. This is also a full screen view. So if you basically need to drill into a particular case or a particular ticket, you can actually do that inside Teams as well. So a fully functional web experience that you can see in the browser today is possible inside Microsoft Teams as well. And that's the beauty of how the Zoho teams have actually built their corresponding integrations on top of Teams. These are like fully functional app experiences on top of Teams. The same goes with Zoho projects. I can actually assign, I can actually change states, I can actually do everything which is practically possible in the web browser version of Zoho projects right from inside Teams. That's the power of building tabs on Teams, including, for example, filing a new task without leaving Teams, getting into details of a task without leaving Teams. The Zoho Sign app, which has been built on Teams, allows me to actually digitally sign documents or upload a document, send it out for signatures, track the status of documents. All of this is possible right inside Teams. The same goes for the STP app also, which is basically under progress, should be up and live on the store soon. The power of scopes, team, chat, and personal. Teams allows you to actually build not only collaborative apps, but also apps which are personal in nature. So if you have, the same app can basically manifest itself in your Teams. It can manifest itself as a personal experience which only says, hey, I want to basically look at my tickets. I want to basically look at tasks which are assigned to me instead of the tasks which are assigned to the team, right? So it basically allows the power of scopes, which is personal scope, team scope, or chat scope. And Zoho teams have basically built, for example, the Sign app is a personal scope app. So it's basically running inside Teams as a personal scope app, not as a collaborative app. And as you can see over here, you can basically track all the signatures, all the documents that you have sent out for signatures, and all the documents that are pending for you for signature from your side inside Teams itself. The Site 24/7 app as well is basically built, has built a bot which is personal in nature. So you can actually query the bot and ask for information about resources and the infrastructure that you track instead of what your team is tracking in a team scope. The same goes for the app being available on mobile client as well. The power of context, you can actually use apps on Teams, and you can query data and share content inside Teams while you are composing a message, right? So your app is actually available to you when you are actually doing the most basic action in Teams, which is typing out a message. So you can see the Zoho project's messaging extension is the same app manifesting itself right in the compose box of Teams. So while I'm typing a message, I can go and search for a task from Zoho projects. I can actually search for the task. I can actually drop that task as a rich card into the conversation itself. I can basically add some literature around it, or I can mention a teammate of mine and say, hey, can you take care of this task? All of these things, which are basically conversational things, were not possible to be done earlier. Earlier, you might have to basically go and pick up a URL from a browser, send it over chat. Your colleague will have to basically click on that, go to the browser, and then make sense of which task you are sharing. Now, using rich cards inside Teams, thanks to the integration that has been built, you are able to share more context and share your task and your information living in your SaaS application right inside Teams. As you can see over here, the Zoho CRM team also has built a messaging extension. You can search for any leads, you can search for contacts, you can search for accounts, you can search for your deals, all of this right from within the scope of Teams, and you can basically drop those as rich cards, as you can see on the right side, and share it in a message, right? It can be a channel message, it can be a 1:1 message, it can be a group chat message, and the same goes for Service Desk Plus as well. For example, you can search for knowledge base articles from Service Desk Plus using their messaging extension, which they're building right now. Awesome. So the key advantage of building on Teams, as I had said, Teams is present across multiple platforms and devices and form factors. When you build an app on Teams, and as Zoho apps have basically built, they are able to basically surface their experience on all of the Teams platforms at once. So you write your code once, you build your app once, it's all web application, and you are able to basically use it across form factors. This is on the left side, it's the Site 24/7 dashboard, which is running on the large screen client of Teams. On the right-hand side, it's the same dashboard, just built in a responsive manner. The team has done a great job of building this dashboard in a responsive manner. It's running inside the Teams mobile client. I have the same Site 24/7 dashboard running on my phone over here. So I can basically monitor my IT infra's performance and uptime on the move. Same goes for bots and channel messages as well. So truly, Teams is an app platform that each Zoho app, we believe, really deserves because of the effortless discovery. The apps are available right inside the product. It's available in the App Store inside the product. You can actually target your apps to one or more people in the company. You can actually put it on the Office Store, or you can actually use distribute it to only relevant people within your company, whoever needs to look at it. The conversations come free. Teams collaboration and communication layer is something that all apps of Zoho are able to leverage without even having to build a conversation layer of their own. For example, Site 24/7 does not have a conversation layer of their own. They are just plugging into the Teams conversation layer, which comes free of cost by bringing their experience inside Teams. It's a rich app platform. We have a lot more capabilities keep getting added to the platform. Multiple surface areas to actually show your app experience inside Teams. We have 8 capabilities right now. When we started work with Zoho in the past, we only had 4 capabilities. In a year's time, we have basically doubled the number of places and the amount of surface area that they are able to kind of get inside Teams. And last one, as you had seen, the experience is available on large screen form factor, tablets, as well as mobile phones. So you build once, you use everywhere, or you deploy everywhere. You reduce your design development overheads. You don't write code twice. It's only a single code base. As long as you're able to build it in a responsive manner, Teams takes care of actually deploying it and distributing it across platforms. I just want to call out, so far in the last year and a half, it's an amazing partnership that we've had with multiple product groups and the central partnership or the integration team within Zoho. What you see over here is basically a shared team that exists between Microsoft and Zoho. So this is where we collaborate on the Teams product itself to build apps from Zoho on Teams. And we actually have a bunch of channels, as you can see on the left-hand side. There are common channels like planning, review, updates, announcements, and one channel for each of these Zoho apps which are integrated or which are building in integration on Teams. We share files. We actually post announcements of newer capabilities that are coming in the product or on the platform. We have our weekly syncs happening on Teams. So we have online meetings between Zoho team and the Microsoft Teams on Teams itself. It's all persistent chat. Anybody can go and search and refer to what was discussed later. We actually share files. We actually share plans. For example, when Site 24/7 app was getting launched, all of that launch planning was basically done on Teams. Each of this, and once the CRM app went live over the weekend, we actually posted congratulatory messages to the entire team on Teams itself. So it's really a shared working space between the Zoho Teams and Microsoft Teams. And on the right-hand side, all of this is basically possible on mobile as well. Awesome. So I want to leave you finally with the fact that Teams really is a very powerful and extensible platform right from day one. We have all of these different surface areas or different capabilities into which any developer can plug in their app, like tabs, bot, messaging extensions, connectors, actionable messaging, activity feed, voice, video, and Microsoft Graph. And in total, it's your opportunity, or it's a developer's opportunity, as Zoho has basically picked up, to reach out to 155 million plus base of Office 365 users all around the globe. And now all of those users, when they're using Teams, they can basically seamlessly use Zoho's apps on top of Teams and reduce context switching, get their work done faster, and takes decisions faster. So that's pretty much what I had, and we're just getting started in the last 1 year. Hopefully, this partnership will see greater heights, and we'll get a lot more apps of Zoho, pretty much every app of Zoho integrated inside Teams. The key takeaway is choice. The users have a choice. Whichever platform they use, whichever product they use, they are able to basically get their favorite apps on that product completely integrated in a fully immersive experience that is possible. Thank you so much for your time. Happy to take questions. I now invite Vidya on stage for the next presentation.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I'm going to be talking about the Zoho MVP program. So what is the Zoho MVP program? It's a process or a framework where we want to recognize and reward all our community contributors. Yeah, so who is an MVP? This program is common to both our partners and customers. An MVP is essentially a person who has a very strong sense of community, who wants to belong to a group where there are like-minded users, someone who has a very good established product expertise, who helps in influencing the other users into looking out for Zoho, investing with Zoho, who accelerates community participation and essentially champions Zoho. And also who actively engages with Zoho folks. By engaging, I mean sharing a lot of ideas, suggesting changes, identifying the bugs first, and being an extension of Zoho, basically. And also shows a lot of leadership and willingness to help the peers. So MVP program has two categories. We have MVPs that can be classified into two categories. One that is the influencer category, where someone who does a lot of resources sharing to the community by writing books, doing tutorials, doing a lot of video resources, being at the meetups, presenting at the meetups, taking that kind of responsibility and basically being experts in Zoho. And the other category is the Zoho champion category. It's more all-rounded, where these champions contribute online and offline. They also influence. They also contribute by answering the peers who ask questions on the community. This is the champion category. So why should you become an MVP? Right? So this could be the natural question that you have. So what is in it for you? So the foremost benefit that you can glean from being an MVP is the credibility, the industry recognition, and you would be featured on the community websites and the Zoho websites. You will be the special group of people who will receive early access to our beta releases. You will be part of our focus groups. You will have access to the engineering and product management folk. So how do you become an MVP? So by being an active part of the Zoho community. So it's a platform where you connect with your peers. You could be a beginner, and as a beginner, you could learn from your peers, network with Zoho folks and other partners, and you could make a journey to becoming an MVP. So there are two avenues where you could contribute. It could be both or either of the avenues. Online, we have an online forum where we have 100K members, of which at least 20K members are actively asking questions, getting answers. There are over 400 conversations already. We want you to be a part of those conversations. You could also be connecting offline. So today we have roughly about 100 user groups across the globe, and we'll be adding a lot more user groups. In the US alone, we have around 33 or 34 user groups where meetups have been happening regularly since last year. So this year also, we are planning to do a lot more meetups. A lot of meetups have already happened. So you could attend these meetups, meet with the users, fellow users from your city, network more closely, and learn a lot more. So where do you start? So cliched as it may sound, the expert in anything was once a beginner, right? You all agree? So where do you start? Start by participating in the online community regularly. You could just start by lurking around, trying to see what your peers are asking, what they're wanting to do, what problems they're trying to solve. Once you start feeling confident about asking, go on and ask your questions. You can have anonymous profiles. You don't have to be yourself, because if you don't want anyone to know that it is you asking the question. Okay, so you can have your own avatars and you can start asking questions. And once you are confident enough of answering or helping out a peer with answers, go ahead and answer those questions. Then share your experiences on the forums, on social media, and offer to speak at all our events. You can start with coming to our meetups, presenting on specific topics, attending our workshops and offering to present at our workshops, attending our seminars. These are some of the ways in which you could get started. But basically, first join and be there. So how does this MVP program work? So it's essentially by nomination. We, as part of the community team, keep watching for user contribution. We look at the top talkers, the top contributors, how they're helping out the peer community, how their answers are helping a lot more people to do better business with Zoho. And there's another way where you can nominate yourself or a colleague or a teammate or a friend who's been contributing a lot to the ecosystem. So we will validate these nominations. We will look out for, we will monitor the conversations or the kind of help you've been offering, and we will qualify those entries as MVPs. So is there all? So a little more, going a little more beyond that, I thought I should also touch upon this possibility of how you can build a career on top of Zoho. So your journey does not end by becoming an MVP. If there's more you want to do, you could do that. So yeah, so being experts in these products, either CRM or desk or campaigns, there are different solutions for different verticals, right? If you're an expert, gain a lot more expertise, become the best in those, the jobs will find you. You could be building several vertical solutions on top of Zoho, as you all must be aware by now, and you could be contributing to the Zoho marketplace. If you build your own apps and extensions, you could be hosting your apps on the Zoho marketplace. So there are already 500 plus extensions. There will be a lot more getting added to this ecosystem. You could look for requirements that people ask, and if you're good with building something, you could be building an application and hosting it there. So why wait? Now get on board and get the most of Zoho. Thank you so much.